The Passion wasn your typical entry in the booming genre of event TV musical, even one that was made to capitalize on the growing faith audience. Typical might have been an adaptation of Godspell or Jesus Christ Superstar, iconic theatrical entertainments that took as their subject the life of Jesus Christ. The Passion was something else. It was a new gloss on an old Christian ritual, a passion play, a rehearsal of Christ's betrayal, suffering, execution, and resurrection performed by a community of believers. Greece. This was not. Passion plays are difficult things to do well. They can provide an opportunity to reflect on the brutal cost of Christian salvation and the hope that is found in the miracle of God's triumph over death. A recent example, Mel Gibson's film The Passion of the Christ, but they have also been presented in ways that excite and promulgate anti-Semitism, intentionally or otherwise. Many people thought The Passion of the Christ was a deeply felt example of that. 2. Passion plays can be used as evangelism or to make statements about cultural identity, all of which makes The Passion something of a loaded thing given the times. A broadcast network aligned with a politically conservative worldview staging Christian propaganda at the start of Holy Week, against the backdrop of a contentious election season in which Republican presidential candidates have marketed themselves as agents of Judeo-Christian values. During a media moment clamoring for greater diversity and representation on television, The Passion had the potential to be divisive instead of uniting, an ecstatic religious experience for many, one more powerfully alienating experience for everyone else. The mixed report I have about The Passion's version of the good news was that it wasn't the worst possible thing it could be, but it was also far from the best. Fox's broadcast was never going to succeed as sacred ritual, not when it was also that most vulgar of television things, a delivery system for advertising messages. To go from an emotionally intense moment with Mary, the mother of Jesus, to a Verizon ad with caustic comedian, impolitic Golden Globes host, and Mel Gibson troll, not to mention famous atheist Ricky Gervais, was jarring to say the least. There were commercials for several films targeting the Christian market, beginning with God Is Not Dead 2, an apparent polemic that portrays believers of Jesus as victims of persecution by forces of secularism and science or whatever the hell. Ray Wise is playing with ripe reaper devilishness. But even that spot was tonally discordant for a TV event that aspired to be gentle in spirit and embracing of everyone, from true believers to those willing to see it as allegory that affirms various positive universal values. Friendship, love, forgiveness. Tide, the laundry detergent, was another sponsor, but The Passion really wanted to be all-temperature cheer, heavily scented with evangelism yet well-bleached of offending bits. The Passion wrapped itself in the persona of its host and narrator, Tyler Perry, to the point where I assumed that it was another original from the Medea-made media mogul and entertainment brand. But The Passion came from Dick Clark Productions, using a TV format derived from the 2006 British TV production Manchester Passion and developed by a Dutch company that specializes in, quoting from their website, communicating positive values to a broad audience, and translating seemingly difficult or unpopular but always relevant or important subjects into attractive, accessible, and successful communication applications. Translation. This was cultural missionary work, shared in the language of today. To borrow from Perry's script, written by Peter Barsokine, a screenwriter best known for the High School Musical movies. The Passion included elements common to Passion plays, like an open-air theater, some street theater, acted and narrated drama, and live choral and instrumental music. Some Passion plays function as civic ritual as well as religious ritual, performed by a community to recall deliverance from calamity. The Passion did this, too. It was staged in New Orleans, Perry's hometown, and it was contextualized by the catastrophe of Hurricane Katrina. but Perry asked us to identify with their gutting and grief and ongoing recovery. We are all New Orleaners, the Passion argued, and hope for restoration after suffering comes from brotherly, neighborly love. The Passion was also noisy with elements rather novel to the form. Pop songs were used to express the internal lives of the characters, making this the Moulin Rouge of Passion plays. It was a risky move. Christians might have been alienated by the use of secular music. I am a Christian. IWASN. Those watching only for the jukebox karaoke were surely delighted, provided they were fans of 90s alt-rock and new century adult contemporary. They could turn it up for Giancarlo Canella as Jesus singing Creed's Arms Wide Open, or Chris Daughtry as Judas singing Evanescence's Bring Me to Life, or Prince Royce as Peter singing Philip Phillips, Home, They could turn it down whenever Perry was talking about the Jesus stuff. The center of the action was a dove-white, multi-tiered stage in Woldenberg Park, but at WASN Olive Theater, while Trisha Yearwood sang several songs expressing the perspective of Mary, the mother of Jesus, from the stage. The story of Christ's final hours was told mostly through pre-recorded scenes, a move blasted by some as a bait-and-switch, using actors in modern dress and sets like coffee houses, city parks, abandoned warehouses, and a cemetery. At one point, we saw Jesus buy bread and fish, food for his Last Supper, from Carla Hall in a food truck. It was one of the evening's few attempts at humor. Almost every choice was designed to remind us that the Passion was more theatrical ritual than history lesson. The actors in the filmed scenes wore headset wireless microphones even though they weren't necessary. Perhaps the show was trying to sell the illusion of live theater, aiding and abetting, a live band and a choir on the